Hi, Node.js Coder. I hope things are fine. Um, I thought we would take a little look at modules here. Modules are reusable. It's a reusable JavaScript, basically, is what it is. So let's take a look at it. Let's do a little drill that hopefully that I think will teach us a little bit about it. So here is the drill, and we won't go through it word by word, but we'll take a look at a few things here. We're creating a directory. Then we're going to create two modules, and then we're going to use those modules, right? So I am just made a little cheat sheet for myself here with the name of the directory, the two file names, and then the user file name. Just as we go, I'll use those. And then we can look through these examples on how to do that. Grab an example here. The first thing we want to do is, from the very top, is initialize the project. Okay, so we basically create the project directory and open a console in the project directory. That's important. And then do that command. So let's do that. In your file browser, you would then create that directory, which is called modules. So we create that. And then we are going to do that, go into the console or command line interface. And you can do that different ways. In Windows, we can use CMD there. And it's just called the terminal on the Mac, right? So here we are. Now we have to be in this directory. That's very important. We have to be in the project directory when we're in the console, right? And we can see that we are in that directory, all right? And then it tells us just to do this command, npm init, right? Right there. It tells us to run the npm command as shown and accept the defaults if we want to, or early on. These will be more usable when we do larger projects and you're using repositories, things like that. We can accept them for now. npm init. And it said, again, accept the defaults. That's just like a package name there. And different things, we'll accept them this time. Okay, there we are. So we're all initialized. Our project is initialized. We're going to go back to our steps. Now, what are we going to do? We are going to build a class here, how to export a module. We're going to build a module. And this is one is going to be a class. So I'm going to go back to that directory here real quick, and we're going to make a file called module1.js. And that takes a second to do. So I think to speed things up, I'm going to create 3 files to get that over with. The second one is going to be called module2.js, right? And the third one is going to be called module user. And these are initially all empty, of course. All right. So let's go into module 1. So in our steps, it says that we can export a class like this. So let's just copy that thing to give us an idea. All right, this is just our normal JavaScript like we did before, right? We can rename that if we want. That's just a comment, right, up there. This is just our normal JavaScript up here like we did before. And down here is where we export them. We're exporting this specific class. I'm just going to now rename this just for this challenge here, rename it into greeter. And let's come up with 2 greetings. Greeting 1, let's say return hello. Greeting 2, let's return hola. And I always keep toString in files because it just is good for debugging if we need to debug, and we often do. All right, so there we have it. We're exporting. Now we're going to export this guy here. That means when we export it, we can use it, we can import it into other files. All right, so let's go ahead back to that example here. All right, so it says now use the module. So that would be our module user file, wouldn't it? That we're supposed to be doing. So we can pull that up as well, open that up, and we can just copy this in. So I'm just going to copy that in to have a starting point, and it's a comment up there. And then we have to require, this is the way Node says to import, right? Import module using require is what this example says, right? That doesn't import, which as we're told there. So what is our name? It's module 1, right? That's the name of our file here, module 1. So that's what we want to import, remember? We're going to reuse this greeter here. All right, so let's go ahead and not greeter, I'm sorry, it'd be called module 1. We don't need the extension there. So then, this is just a little function I use, and you don't have to use that. You can say console log if you want to. So what are we going to do? We are going to create a object, and we're going to call it maybe the greeter in the normal way that we did as our other assignment. This class is called greeter, so we would go in here and we would construct a greeter like that. And now we're going to use that greeter right here. And we can just put something in here like, this is just a label on the, to the left here, so I'm going to say 1 and 2, and then we're going to say greeting 1, I think was what we called it, right? Greeting 1, and greeting 2. All right, so we can do that, and one more. Okay, greeting 2. I'm going to save that. Now, go back here. How do we run it? And we can have shortcuts in our tool as well, but we're going to do it from the console just to do the very basics. So it says run the program normally. So there it is, just like that. And again, we could go here to get a little more information. And of course, it says there that when we run it normally, we go into our project directory and just do that command, which is what it's telling us here, really, right? So the word node and then the node node file name, right? So let's do that. Let's go back here. And I like to actually see what I'm working with, so I don't have to try to remember everything. We are working with those. We want to run that module user. We don't need the extension. So as it told us to do, it said to do, remember, node and then the name right there of what we want to run. Node, we might as well copy it, right? And put it into place. And we have a bug, which is interesting too. That's also good fun. Let's take a look at that bug. It says that there's a bug on module 1, line 22. So let's take a look at that. Line 22, module 1. What did I do? Yes, we exported this thing that does not exist. That was the original, right? We actually want to export what we coded, and we coded the greeter, right? This is what we coded. So we want to correct that and make that a greeter. All right, now let's see if we can get past that bug. Again, we're all ready to go here. So we'll go node, and then we'll simply go type in that name of what we want to run. And there we go. It's the greeter, and it says, gives our 2 greetings right there. So it's reusing that code. And of course, this is a small thing, but that's what we're doing, is just learning, right? So that's what that is, even with bug included. Now we have a second part to this, and that is, if we go back here, we have to actually also do a function, it told us, right? We go back to the problem. It says module 2 exports 1 or more functions, not classes, but functions. All right, so let's go back now to our steps and exporting functions. And here's an example, and as always, I like to use something to have a starting point. I'm going to go in here and open up module 2. That is going to be, we don't need that there. I'm going to just copy this to have a starting point here. And just for something different, let's just make up something that does a add 3 nums. This is just going to add 3 numbers. Not a super exciting function, but to demonstrate, right? Return A plus B plus C. All right, and we have one function. I'm going to be smarter this time and try to avoid that bug by correcting this part down here. We want to export that function right there, and we're going to give it that name. We could give it any name at this point here, but usually it helps just to give it the same name, because that's what actually will be exported. We're actually making that public, if you will, when we import. And we'll see how that works in a second. So let's go back to our user now, and then also do that one more import, right? And again, remember, import is under, and I should have really renamed that tools something like probably I could rename it module 1, whatever that might be more useful. And let's just go module 2 as well there, module 2. So remember what we're trying to get out of module 2, we're going to add 3 numbers. So, okay, the module user. Let's go down here again and say the sum of 3 nums. And we are going to do that by using that function. Again, here it is, add 3 nums was exported. That was exported. So we can go in there and we can actually say sum of 1, 2, 3 should be 6, right? We'll use the add 3 nums function that was exported. We have to use the module with a dot like that. 1, 2, 3. And we go like that, and now let's go try to run that again and see if we have a couple different outputs here. Or maybe not, maybe I introduced another bug, who knows, huh? Now remember how we do it. Tells us here again, I'm sure. Does that, and again, we run it in that same way, that node. And all of ours is in one file, right? All of our usage is in one file. That's what the challenge wanted. So we're going to do node again. And that module, same module user, is what we want to run. Going to just copy that in, try that again, and no bug this time. We got a greeting, a couple of greetings as before, and we got our sum, 1, 2, and 3 are 6. So that's what modules are. You know, those are just obviously throwaway type modules, but that's basically whenever you see something, whenever we code, we want to really code in modules so we can reuse that code. So that makes JavaScript adds a lot of value to it. So that's modules, and we'll see you soon.